Hi everyone, I'm Akshay, and I'm here to introduce to you Haystack Code Reviewer. Let's jump right into it. To begin with, navigate to the URL haystackeditor.dev. You'll get to this screen, and from here, click this button here called Review Pull Request. You'll see it pops up this little dialog just asking if you want to sign in. If you just want to view public repositories, you don't have to sign into GitHub. So if I click that, it'll ask me what pull request I want to use. You have to input specifically the GitHub URL of the pull request you want to review. So the URL should look something like github.com, then it should have the org, then the name of the repo, then pull, and then the pull request number. And that's all you need to launch a Haystack server for the code review. So if I click enter here, it'll ask me if I want to use AI. I absolutely recommend you use AI to organize and summarize it. It just makes it much better. And obviously, you should do so only if you're comfortable. If you click enable, it'll start spinning up or creating the Haystack server over here. I already pre-created this one, so we don't have to wait. If you click yes here, we'll be sent to a new URL or a new web page. You'll see them in like very similar but different canvas. So immediately you'll get a pop-up asking whether you want to review it. In this case, you can review commits individually. For this pull request in particular, it's been merged, so I can only review all changes at once. So I click that. And you'll notice a bunch of things will start happening at once. You'll see a bunch of editors on the screen as well as these sections. And so the sections are how Haystack Code Reviewer chunks the pull request into the digestible bytes so that you can perform code reviews more easily. And we'll go into that in a bit. You can also see here on the top right, you see this mini map. You can actually see all the editors numbered in order with the recommendation that Haystack Code Reviewer recommends you to view them in. So obviously you start at one, go into two, so on and so forth. And you can actually use these two buttons to proceed in that order. So if I click next, we immediately go to the pull request summary and the pull request title. Great. If I click it again, we'll actually end up at the first section. So what are sections? Sections are pretty simple. They're just a title, in this case, introduce error handling in file info batch, and a description. And it'll have all the editors that are sort of related to this functionality described in the title and description. So in this case, all we're doing here is introducing error handling. So every editor in this section sort of deals with that. If I go really quick to the next section, we'll see that we're adding an index sequence field. And so all these changes, all these diffs have to do with exactly that. And in this way, it kind of keeps related changes together so you can maintain that context when reviewing. Okay, so now we're here. I want to go back to the first section. So what I can do is I can click on any of the editors. So if I click on that, it brings me here. And then I just want to go back to the section. So you can kind of review the section all at once if you want. In fact, I can increase the font size over here with this button on the bottom right, just to make the font bigger. And so you can kind of see at a glance what's happening in this section. So these arrows are what we call dependency arrows, and they are direct dependencies from one diff to the other. So in this case, all these diffs, every one of them actually, I think, is using file info batch. So you can see here, like if I right click on this arrow, it kind of reveals the place where file info batch is being used, in this case in the parameter, and a similar story for all the rest. Similarly, if I want to look at, okay, like this method flush, where is it being used? If I just right click here, it'll put my selection directly where it's being used. So this is a quick way to understand how diffs are directly related to each other. Another thing I want to mention is like as you're reviewing, you might be done reviewing one diff and you want to move on. In that case, you can mark it as reviewed. So this is kind of nice on the toolbar, but more importantly on the mini map, it'll actually show up as green. And so this way you can sort of easily track what editors you've already reviewed and what sections you've already reviewed as well. The last thing I want to show you is right now you can kind of see all the diffs as unified diffs, meaning they're all sort of laid out in this top to bottom fashion. You can also change it such that the diffs are laid out side to side. So if I click this button, you can actually see the diffs instead are being displayed horizontally. And so if I wanted to, oops, come on, sorry, this is a little. So if I wanted to look at it in a horizontal way to make it easier to parse, I can do so. And you don't have to sort of blanketly apply this to every editor. you can actually click on this button in the toolbar. So I can click View Unified, and then we go back to the unified format, whereas everything else is side by side. Obviously, I can go back to side by side just by clicking that. So that is everything I wanted to show you guys. I believe and hope that Haystack Code Reviewer is a really helpful tool in being able to understand a pull request fast, so that you can focus less on sort of understanding the pull request and more on giving feedback and learning new code. So I hope it helps. Please, if you have any feedback, let us know. I'd love to hear it and I'd love to iterate on it. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.